Hi everyone, Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys all about the European launch today. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So Disney Plus launched in a number of Western European countries today, including the UK, Ireland, Germany, Italy, Spain, Austria and Switzerland. Unfortunately, the French release was delayed till April the 7th. Now, in general, the launch of Disney Plus over here has been much smoother than it was in the United States, because the biggest issue really has been it's much more tested now. It's been running for nearly 6 months actually here in Europe, because the initial test originally started back in September in the Netherlands. So it's been running for a while, so it's a little bit more refined, a little bit more better. They've made a lot of updates to the app over the last few months. So a lot of those issues have been sorted out. Now, unfortunately, there hasn't been completely without some issues. Obviously, people have not been able to log in. I've recently just done a poll over on our Facebook group and also on Twitter. I'll be honest, around about 60 to 70% of people seem to have had no issues. Maybe about 20% of people have been having a few little issues, and only a small percent of people have not been able to get in at all, which is much more better than I think the US launch was. Like I said, they've had a lot more time to sort these little issues out. Now, unfortunately, a lot of those little errors, some of them were obviously user error, maybe user wrong password, and a lot of slightly miscommunication in terms of what devices they could watch it on, and then finding out they couldn't watch it. Things like just general kind of things, not necessarily down to Disney, but I do think Disney sometimes haven't been quite so good on letting people know what devices they've been able to get in on. There was a lot of questions as well about it not being available on certain platforms, for example, here in the UK, like BT and Virgin, while it's on Sky, Q. There was also some issues with the app kind of rolling out across all the different platforms. Some of them were a little bit quicker than others, but obviously eventually they've all been sorted out. But generally, not too bad, I'll be honest. I have been testing it on a couple of my different devices, including my iPad, though I've been using the app for a long time on my iPad and iPhone. Using it on my Xbox One X, that's been fine. The PlayStation 4 has been fine. I've also got it on my LG Smart TV. Though it is a 2016 model, and I wasn't actually expecting it to be part of it. But the app was able to be downloaded, though it is really sluggish. I'm fine for movies and shorts, but for the TV episodes, the menus are just really, really bad. So I don't know if I'm going to be using it too much on there, because it just seems a little bit sluggish. Obviously as well, there's been some other little issues to deal with as well. For example, in the UK, the Channel Islands and also the Isle of Man did not get it today. They will be getting it on April the 2nd. I don't know quite why it's getting it a little bit later. This has been something that's been brewing for a while, because a number of people have been contacting me, asking me why they've not been able to pre-order. But now it makes a little bit more sense. There was obviously some issues that I think Disney weren't really maybe going into, but great to hear they'll be getting it next week. So generally as a whole, not too bad. Obviously, a lot of other people are asking when it's going to be coming to their countries in Europe. As of yet, we don't know too much more what's going on, but the first wave has been done. As well as that, there has been some issues, obviously, with the virus hitting Europe so heavily right now. So what that has meant is Disney have reduced the quality of some of the video down by about 25%. This is what's been going on a number of different platforms. For example, Netflix, YouTube and Amazon have kind of been doing something similar. Even today, both PlayStation and Xbox have announced that they've slowing down people's downloads to try and help keep the internet going, because obviously so many of us are now having to stay home, and therefore internet usage has gone up. Doesn't seem to be an issue too much. I've been watching some bits and pieces. It all looks pretty fine to me, but hopefully this is just a temporary issue that'll get fixed. There's also the logistic problem for Disney with regards to this virus, because they've not been able to have as many people on the support side of things as they would normally do, with people being ill and also with the lockdowns in different countries. That has had an impact. So if you are trying to ring them, you will have a delay in getting through them. They have got live chats, taking a little bit more longer to get through that than maybe we are used to. Doesn't seem to be as bad as the US, but I do think it did help with not having that whole ESPN Plus and Hulu bundle that was not available in Europe, because we don't have those platforms. So I think that did ease that out a little bit. Obviously as well, if you were a Disney Life subscriber, it didn't automatically cross over. We knew that, but I don't think the message had quite got out too much to some people about this. They had sort of messages going out about Disney Life becoming Disney Plus, but it wasn't 100%. Though, I must be honest, I did get a notification on my phone today that I've got Disney Life installed on, telling me that's what I'd have to do. But yeah, generally as a whole, I think it's not been too bad. There are a couple of other issues as well to be aware of. in terms of the release schedule for Disney Plus shows. It was a little bit erratic because there were some shows, for example, like The Mandalorian, where we got 2 episodes. Same thing for Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Then we had other shows which only got the first episode, like Diary of a Future President, also the Disney Fairy Tale Weddings. But then we get things like Shop Class, which are completely up to date with the US version. Same thing with Disney Insider. And then shows like Encore and The World According to Jeff Goldblum had the whole seasons available. But things like Marvel Hero Project and the Imagineering Story didn't. A little bit hit and miss. I kind of hope they kind of can get this fixed pretty soon. Obviously, the reason they have done this is to try and keep people subscribed a little bit longer. They don't want everyone flying through all of the episodes in 1 week, especially with so many people being home. So that's why they're spreading out. But a lot of the newer shows are kind of day and date with the US, for example, like Shop Class. And then obviously we've got the new series of Be Our Chef starting this week everywhere. A little bit messy, but kind of see what they've done. There's also a couple of shorts that were missing from the Pixar Spark shorts, and also Noelle was missing. Which isn't a huge surprise. I think releasing a Christmas movie in the middle of March, maybe not the best thing, so keep that one back maybe for later this year. There's a little bit of things here and there, but generally not too bad a launch. Much nicer and a lot easier to report on than we had the US launch. Hopefully that will keep up and Disney will be able to keep going with all the people watching at home. Generally a lot of people really happy about having Disney Plus now in Europe. It's really nice to be able to kind of just fire up the app and watch bits and pieces. The only other issue really was Frozen 2 is not available in Europe yet. Most of the countries have got a release date for July. I am expecting this to change. One of the reasons for this, I suspect, is because the DVD and Blu-ray version haven't yet been released. They're coming out next week. So I assume Disney don't want necessarily you jumping in and having them off. We don't yet know about Onward, so that is the only 2 things going on right now. As things stretch out and get a bit better and clearer, I suspect all these issues will eventually be kind of worked out. But the European launch has been kind of like, they've taken some of the aspects from the US launch and rather than just taking what they've got now and making it global. They will be listening, hopefully, and when it rolls out in other countries, they can see what they've done here and see how that all works. But nevertheless, really cool to have Disney Plus finally officially running on all my apps, and everyone else can enjoy it as well over here. And I know I've had loads of friends and stuff all kind of downloading it and trying it out, so it's really cool to have it out. But nevertheless, go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.